Hello, future music therapists. This first screencast will show you how to download and install Zotero, as well as the browser plugins that we'll be using. Please go to our OL website for music therapy, section 1. Scroll down to week 2, and you'll notice under the Zotero section there is a link there for Zotero downloads. Please click on that, and that will open up the Zotero download page. You'll notice that there are two possible versions here, one for Firefox that installs directly in the Firefox browser, but what I would prefer that everyone do is install the standalone version that will be located on your computer, and then we'll be downloading a plugin for the browser. Zotero is a free download, a free program. We can click right here and select to download Zotero 4.0 for Mac. So we're doing it right now. You'll notice the download area here in Safari is showing that it's being downloaded. It'll take about 60 seconds to do that. While that's going on, you'll notice that there are 3 browser extensions, one for Safari, one for Chrome, and one for Firefox. If you're using Firefox right now, that one would be highlighted. If you're using Chrome, that would be highlighted. I am using Safari right now, so I will be downloading this one. The only difference, obviously, between how we do this is when you do select the Chrome extension, it will take you to the Chrome store to do the installation. So it's a little bit different than the Safari and the Firefox downloads, but once it's installed, it works pretty much the same way. So I'm going to click right here if I'm using Safari or Firefox or Chrome and download that extension or plugin. Zotero does have a paid version that allows you to create an account on their server for free with a limited amount of storage space, much like the cloud services that you find at Apple and Windows and Microsoft. But pretty much most of the work that you're doing here would not require extensive storage. Maybe when you do your master's degree, you'll find that that would be something you'll need more storage for. And right now, everything will be stored on our laptop here in our standalone version. So there really is no limit on how much we can download. The features are pretty much the same from both the standalone version and the cloud version. The only advantage of the cloud version would be if you were in a library without your laptop, you could log into your account and then find your citations and add them to your server version of Zotero. And then when you open up your laptop and start Zotero, you could sync it so that it will then bring it to your standalone version as well. So right now it looks as though the downloads are complete. So I am going to minimize my Safari screen. I'm going to go to my download folder, which I have here, or some of you might need to go to the Finder, the left-hand side of the dock, and open that up. There are the downloads. And I'm going to suggest that you select those 2 downloads and move them to the computer, desktop, so you'll be able to easily find them and delete them when we're done. The first thing I'd like to do is install the Zotero standalone version, which is a DMG file. That is a disk image file. Double click on it. You'll get a message saying it's verifying that this is a correct version for this computer. It will then open another screen indicating that you may need to say, okay, we're installing this because it didn't come from the Apple Store. But basically, this icon right here, I'm going to drag to this folder to do the installation. So click, drag it over. When you see the plus sign, release it. And eventually, you'll see the installation process happening right there. So right now, it's actually copying it to my application folder. There we go. Now I have Safari open, so I'm going to open that up And what I'd like to do is click on the extension here for the plugin. If you're using Firefox, you would find a Firefox plugin instead. If you're using Chrome, you don't even need to have download anything. It goes directly into your browser. So I'm going to double click on this, say yes, I want to install this extension. And when I'm in Safari, I can choose to go to the preferences in Safari and choose the extensions here to indicate that yes, I have Zotero enabled and we're good to go. If you were in Firefox, you would probably go to Window, and I think it's called Add-ons, and you'll see that it's there. We no longer need this screen, so we're going to close that tab. And I'm going to go and open up Word so that the add-on that Zotero allowed to be downloaded will be connected to Word. So find Word. I'm using my Command Tab key to go back and forth between different applications. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. So if I go to my Finder and the desktop, you'll see that there's that Zotero disk image file that we used before. I'm going to actually go to my application folder and find Zotero. I prefer to use the column view here versus the folder view. It's a little more difficult to organize and find things if you have a lot of applications. The list view is convenient, but requires you to open up all of these little arrows. Column view allows me to see it alphabetically and scroll down to the bottom where I'll see Zotero, and I will click on it, double click on it to install it. I've had a previous version of Zotero on here, so some of these screens might look a little bit different to you because I have some things I've already used and I've deleted them. This will ask you, is it okay to open this up? Yes, it is. We're sure we know who has provided this download. And once we've done that, I'll close that window while it's downloading, and there's Zotero. You'll see that Zotero has a quick start guide here that you can look up later on and read through. The first thing I'd like to do right now is go to Zotero and the preferences for Zotero to point out a few things and make sure the settings are the way we need them. The first thing is that under General, I would normally leave these default settings there. You can certainly choose the font sizes and the type of font you want to use. The sync area here, I do have a server account, but that's not necessary for what we're doing in this class and possibly for what you might be doing in other classes. But you could choose to create an account and create your own password and have that capability if you're going to a library without your laptop. In the search tab here, I'm looking to check to see if there are any updates for the indexing feature here. And I see now that is up to date, so I'm okay with that. In the export tab, I'm looking to find out what is the default format for it using citations. And here we're using the APA 6th edition. You'll notice that there are many others here as well that might be used. Chicago Manual Style is very popular as well. So we're making sure that that says APA 6th edition. And I also want to double check the citation tab and make sure that as far as word processors, the add-in for Word has been installed. If it hasn't, you would just click here to add that, and eventually it will say the add-in is currently installed. I want to make sure I use this classic add citation dialog selected. That'll make it easier to find the actual citations you're looking for when the time comes to add those. And in the Styles tab here, I'm looking to indicate that this is the style that we want to use. APA 6th edition. This is the default check off here. So if there are URLs within that paper, they will be downloaded and active, so you can go directly to that abstract if you need to in the future. And under shortcuts, you could probably remember some of these, but pretty much I don't bother using those. And under advanced, you'll notice there's a bunch of information about logging in, logging out. Most of that refers to the server version, and basically the default settings are fine. I will select OK. I want to use my Command Tab key to go over to Word. And Word is running. I should see in this icon right here a script which says Zotero. And it says add bibliography, citation, edit those, remove field codes, and all of that. If that is there, then you know you have the add-in Word installed. If it's not there, go back to Zotero, go back to the preferences, and choose under search. Under Site. There it is. Word processors, and make sure that if it says it's not currently installed, click on that to make sure it's installed. So we're good to go with our plugin, both the standalone version and the Safari version and the Word version. So I'm going back to Safari, and you'll notice that in Safari, there's a little icon right here, not the floating beach ball, little icon right here that will indicate that that is Zotero. Zotero, I think it shows Zotero is offline, which I don't understand because it is not offline. There it is. Okay, so it should be online. It may be confused with my other version, but normally that appears as the letter Z. So what I'm looking to do is go back to my OL website and download the file that we're going to use, which says in class MT Zotero template. Select that by clicking on it. It will download that to your download folder. We'll come back later to look at these resources and what's going on there. I can X this out, and I'm looking for my download folder. There is the Zotero in-class exercise. Because Zotero has been installed, we no longer need this icon here. So we can take that and drag that over to the trash can, which will then eject it. And we can also trash the disk image file because it's now currently installed. And what I'd like to do is go and open up the in-class MT Zotero file. We're going to stop here. We'll start the next screencast on how we're going to use this.